Welcome to Fusion Tonight. Tonight, we talk to another essential worker who has stayed on station throughout the pandemic. It's our First UMC Facilities Administrator, John Bentley. Now scream and yell and jump up and down for our host, Mr. John Cooper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fusion Tonight. I'm your host, John Cooper. We're so excited to have you joining us again or joining us for the first time. Fusion Tonight is our talk show worship here at First United Methodist Church. We're always looking for unique ways to bring the Word of Christ into your homes, and we hope that this is something that finds you well. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fantastic show for you tonight. I'm so excited to be here. But before I came out here to film this and do all this, I was reading in the news. I haven't talked about the news in a long time on this show, as longtime viewers will tell you. I was looking in the news and I saw that Wisconsin did away with their mask mandate. This is true. This is a thing that just happened. And I couldn't help but think, gosh, that's ironic, because after watching the Green Bay Packers lose their second straight NFC title game, I couldn't help but think that the last thing people in Wisconsin would want to do is show their faces. Do the Green Bay Packer fans hate me yet? They're mad. They're big mad, aren't they? They're super mad, and it's okay. You get to be mad, and when you're mad, you get to find ways to cope. And there's a particular way that I know people in Wisconsin like to cope, which is a great lead-in to this recycled little bit. Because when I saw the news about the mask mandate, when I saw that the Packers lost, I couldn't help but think. I shared this study a few years ago right here on this show. And it was a very interesting, very enlightening study. And what this study found was that Iowa City, Iowa, is the third drunkest city in the entire country, in the entire United States. And naturally, I got thinking, well, who's number one? You'll never believe this. The number one drunkest city in the United States was a tie between every city in Wisconsin. And apparently that study is still true today, both in their government and amongst all Green Bay fans trying to figure out how they're going to cope with losing another NFC championship game and go into next season. So good luck to you, state of Wisconsin, and good luck to you next season, Green Bay Packer fans. And so for some real luck, how lucky are we? Fusion Tonight. I told you we have a great show tonight on this broadcast. He is the building administrator here at First United Methodist Church. He's in charge of everything. I'm a John that has fun. He's a John that gets things done. John Bentley is on the show tonight. I'm so excited to get to sit down and talk to him for only the second real live interview that I've had in almost a calendar year. He's here in the building tonight. I'm excited to talk to him. I think it's going to be a fantastic interview. Super excited to talk to him. But before we do that, we have some church business to attend to. Item number one, we're in church, talking about God. We should probably pray. So I want to invite everyone at home to please join me right now in a time of prayer. Gracious and Holy Father, we're so blessed to be able to gather in any format, whether it is in person or whether it's virtual. Any place that we can gather, any place that we can come together to hear your word is a place that you are. So Lord, we ask that you fill us with your presence, that you fill us with hope, that you fill us with love, that you remind us that no matter what we're going through, no matter what joys we're celebrating, no matter what sorrows we're dealing with, whatever it is that is going on in our lives, whatever we're experiencing, or whatever we have experienced in this last year, in this last very challenging year, that you remind us that you are with us, you are next to us, we are never alone. And that by leaning on you, we can get through anything, and we can hopefully see better days and hopefully see one another again very soon. We bring this to you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for agenda item number 2 before we get to talk to John Bentley, and that is to talk about this month's mission of the month. Here's more information about that.
Hey everybody, it's Chris here in the First UMC Media Studios Blanket Fort. Our January mission of the month is Church World Service's Blankets Plus program. Church World Service is a great Christian organization. They're also the folks who bring us the crop walk in the fall. Now, if you've ever made a blanket fort like this one, you know that a blanket is a pretty versatile thing. When we're cold, we can wrap up in a blanket to keep heat in. And when we don't have shelter, blankets can be used for that too. A blanket can be used as a bag to hold all your belongings if you don't have anything else to use. $10 buys one of these blankets that Church World Service will give to families that are displaced by disaster or by poverty. So who gets these blankets? Well, people in our own country who lose their homes due to tornadoes or fires or floods, or people in other countries around the world who are displaced by conflict. In addition to blankets, Church World Service also works around the world to rebuild lives and communities through agricultural, educational, and vocational support. Church World Service's programs are designed to help refugees not just survive, but to prosper in their new homes. You know, a blanket might not seem like much until you've lost all that you had. And then a blanket is everything. It's security, it's warmth, it's shelter. Church World Service Blankets is our January mission of the month. You can give online at our secure giving portal at aboutfirst.com/giving. And we thank you for supporting our January mission of the month.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was this month's mission of the month. I hope that you find it in your hearts to give as generously as possible. I know that things have been tough this last year. So whether it's your prayers, whether it's financial help, whether it's volunteer, whatever you can give to this wonderful cause, I hope that you are able to do it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited. Please give it up for John Bentley. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is officially interview time. Sitting with me on the couch tonight is First United Methodist Building Administrator John Bentley. John, thanks for being on the show. How you doing?
Pretty good, real good, as a matter of fact.
It's good to see you.
Wow, it feels good to see you. I mean, it's been a while.
It almost feels like normal.
Yes, it does.
Almost feels like normal.
We're getting there.
So what I want to lead in with is you are the building administrator. What does that mean? What is all of your job duties here at First United Methodist Church?
I do a little bit of custodial work. I mean, I do, basically I take care of the church property, more or less. That goes everything from equipment-wise, air handlers, heat, water, anything that goes wrong that way, I kind of take care of it, whether I fix it myself or I get somebody to fix it or whatever. I do custodial work, clean bathrooms, and snow removal, anything to do with the building, more or less.
So I'm the John that makes things fun, but you're the John that gets things done. Is that what you're saying?
I'd say so, maybe, yep. Or I'm the John that people turn to when things go wrong. No, something like that anyway.
Something like that. So you have a lot of job responsibilities normally. And anybody that's been around the church sees you hustling and bustling, going from here to there. And that's under normal conditions.
Right.
This last year has been anything but normal, as we're in month 1,000 of the COVID pandemic. What has changed for you during this last year and how you go about doing your job?
Well, what's changed is, well, for one thing, we had a part-time employee. Then she got a different job, so that now it all relies on to me instead of having somebody to help. But what's changed about me personally is that I guess it's more alone time now, more one-on-one time. It definitely gets quiet around here, so I get a lot more time to think about things, and I miss things too. It definitely has been a lot of missing people, activities, daily routine. Sunday routine especially that's really changed. But a good thing that's come out about it, I've been able to get things done that normally I wouldn't be able to, because there not being people around to be in the way or whatever. Like I said, it's given me a lot of time to think, sit down and think about a lot of things. So,
yeah. So sounds like, a lot of mental struggles.
Yep.
The last year, being on your own more. What did your job duties look like as far as cleaning regimens and stuff like that? What happened there that was unique, different, more challenging?
Well, now I've got to wear mask, when people are around and stuff like that. And I got to do a lot of disinfecting, which is, which I did do before, but now it's way more disinfecting, because anytime somebody comes and uses a certain area of the building, you got to go in there and clean it. For instance, if you have more than one service in there, as soon as that service is over with and they're going to have it in sanctuary again, I've got to go in there and disinfect everything, all, the pews and everything like that. So, yeah, it's created a little bit more, but then, we haven't had service like that. So, but still, when there's things going on, it creates more work and stuff like that, as far as keeping everything clean and sanitized, I guess I should say.
Now, would you say, obviously people would assume, hey, if there's less people, there's less to do. Do you find that to be true, or are you busier than you've ever been?
Well, no, I don't think that's always true, because we still have daycare here, which there's people coming in every day, day in and day out, which you have to basically disinfect, the bathrooms downstairs, wherever people come in and travel through. So some of it's slowed down, but yet I've found ways, to do it, like I said earlier, do things that normally you can't do when there's a whole lot, activities going on and stuff like that. For carpets, for instance, I'd say we probably got some of the most disinfected carpets around here because, they don't get used much, but yeah, you can clean them and stuff like that. But it's got its ups and downs.
Now, have you, everybody's, has to make personal decisions outside of their workplace, how to mitigate the risk and what risks they take. Have you been able to find ways to visit family, to see people? Have you been pretty isolated?
No, I've actually found, ways with my two boys and my grandkids. We've worked around schedules where we can, they came up for Christmas and stuff like that. Of course, we all wore our masks and stuff like that. But, sometimes you just forget about the mask, because it's not the same, when you can see it, especially the grandkids. I don't get to see them very often. They live down in Cedar Rapids, which ain't very far away, but they live their life. And so when I do get to see them, the mask comes off and we have social time with the grandkids. And Christmas was really fun because, there ain't nothing better than watching young kids open presents, and watching their facial expressions. So, it was really good to see that. And that kind of keeps you in check as far as what's going on and stuff like that. And then, you got to realize that, with this virus and everything, that it could all be taken away in a matter of seconds, if you ain't careful. So you got to balance it out, where you want to find that time to cut loose and where you got to really be careful.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't, especially for the kids, I would hate to have them contract something that I would get, or something. So you pick and choose, where you're going to have that time at. So.
Absolutely. So I'm sure, especially when you're focusing or doing more of the custodial work, you probably notice, you're too nice to say anything, but you probably notice when people have, let's say, bad practices. If they're messy, they leave messes behind them. Have you noticed any change in that type of behavior? Do you see people maybe being more cleanly than they've been otherwise?
From what I've seen here at the church, it's not really, I mean, it's changed as far as there not being the amount of people that normally would be here, but you still find a few people that, they may try or whatever, but they just don't take into consideration that there are other people and that there's people like me that got to clean up after them and so forth. That's why I try to leave certain things there for them to maybe clean up their own mess, but some people don't believe in that, I guess. I don't know. But it hasn't been too bad, though.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we're a year in, so you might be well adjusted at this point. But when all of this started, what was that like for you, knowing that, there's this virus, it's this spreadable, we're still learning about whether or not it spreads on contacts. What was that like for you mentally, knowing I have to be the one that interacts with all of these services that could potentially be harmful?
Well, I did my research and I talked to my sales reps about certain things that, that would work. And for instance, they've got a disinfectant that will kill this virus within 5 minutes of contact and stuff like that. So you try and prepare yourself to where, know what's, what they consider acceptable practices and practices that'll just get you by, and you got to remember that you're not prone to getting this, so you got to practice what goes on, what they recommend, and nobody wants to be the one to carry the virus and give it to other people. So I really myself have stepped up my personal hygienes as far as that goes, and to make sure that, I don't be the spreader of it or whatever. And, but you gotta, there's other people too that you just gotta be careful, maintain your distance from them and stuff like that. And especially the people that aren't the frequent, people that come here, you get a few that come in off the street that, they're not regular people. So you're a little more leery of them people, more so than, say, for instance, a daycare parent or something like that. You see them all the time, but everybody's got to practice that social distancing and the mask wearing. So I try to do my best at it.
Absolutely. So I got to ask you, throughout the last year, obviously we're in a church, it's a religious talk show. God has to play a role somewhere in these questions. How would you say you have leaned on God over the course of the last year as you've been trying to deal with this with the rest of us?
Well, like I said earlier, I got a lot more time to think. So, I sit in the sanctuary quite a bit by myself and then talk to God and then basically, ask for the guidance that, that I would, He guide me to make the right decisions and to not be judgmental about certain things, because it's easy to see something that may not quite be to your liking or whatever, and you don't want to be hypocritical or judgmental to that person. Maybe they just don't understand what's going on. So I talk to God and lean on Him to help me make them decisions as to maybe instead of getting ahead of myself with this person or whatever, to ask them what they don't understand about it or whatever, and hopefully I can answer their question and to be more, I guess, what I want to say, friendly as far as the approach and stuff like that. So, and God, like I say, you get a lot of time in the sanctuary with Him. You get to ask Him all kinds of questions, and so far it's worked out pretty good. I feel like He's guided me to make the right decisions. I mean, I haven't got sick yet, so I'm assuming that that's got a lot to do with it as far as the right decisions making, and not to be afraid to ask him. I mean, that's one important thing. Before, it was kind of like, okay, do I, say this or whatever. Now it's no big deal because, I know that he'll be there to, guide me through it, I hope. So.
Well, awesome. So I want to close, as somebody, that does so much work on our building, dealing with all of our AC units, the heat, repairing light bulbs. Oh my God, John, we need this. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
custodial work. What would you say to our audience, the people that are watching this at home? What would you say to them? How would you tell them to treat other custodial workers, other building administrators, and other professions? What would you want them to know about people in your role, how they're feeling, and how you would like them to treat them?
Well,
going
just
forward?
remember that they are the ones that are, cleaning up the mess after other people, and that they're just as prone to getting it as anybody else, and to think about them as far as when you're making a mess or whatever it may be. Just think of that person as one, just like you would a family member, as far as you don't want them to get it. So, make the right decisions and to think about that person as far as what they've got to do. I mean, they've got to clean up after a lot of things that they don't want to have to clean up. I mean, granted, they don't want to have to clean up a lot of things, but they do, and we get through it. Yeah, just remember that they got a job to do too, and make it safe for them.
Absolutely. I think that's a good place to close. I could talk to you all night. What they don't know is we were talking a half hour before we even started filming this interview.
Right.
So, John, always a treat. I can't wait until things are safe enough to have lots of people in the church. I think a lot of people, myself included, owe you a great deal of gratitude for what you do for our church, keeping it clean, keeping it tidy, and just keeping it ready, and hopefully ready for us whenever we get to come and all reconvene inside these walls together instead of virtually and apart. So,
well, it's not just a job for me. I really do enjoy doing it, and I enjoy the people and the camaraderie, and it gives me a sense of feeling good about myself. So,
well, awesome. You should feel good about yourself, because I feel good about you, because you're awesome. So,
great.
Thank you so much, John. Ladies and gentlemen, John Bentley. Ladies and gentlemen, that was John Bentley. I'm so excited that he could be on the show with us tonight. It was such a joy getting to talk to him and getting to visit with him, check in on him. I know that he is somebody that always has such an upbeat attitude. He's always looking about what I can do, how can I make the most of something. I know that he's looking forward to a time where we can all be together. I know we all are looking forward to a time when we can all be together. And I hope that on that day, as long as it's safe to do so, that you are giving him all the high fives, elbow bumps, fist bumps, hugs in the world. He's someone that does so much for our church, and we just can't thank him enough. And I hope that as you heard his message and as you go forth about your week, that you think about other people in his line of work and what they've been doing for all of us in the middle of what has been such a challenging time. Every business that you go into, everywhere that you go, there are people just like John doing everything they can to keep those buildings running, to keep them clean, to keep them safe for you, to try to give you just a little sliver of normalcy and comfort knowing you can do the things that you are used to doing and you can do so safely. So please think about John anytime you see anyone in that line of work, anytime you see someone working on a building or cleaning a bathroom or mopping a floor, fixing a window, repairing your AC, whatever it is, think about John and remember to treat them with the same kindness and compassion you would treat your friend John. Treat them, as John said, like a family member. Think about what they're going through and treat them with love. And that's the message I leave with you every week. Great tie-in. Please have a good week, and wherever you do, wherever you go, please, please, please be Christ for one another. We'll see you next week.